So many people in Vancouver feel the same way, that they want more. They don't know what it is, but they've got the education, they've got the career, they've got the social life that they want, and they're not fulfilled, and they don't understand why.
Vancouver is also unique in that it's densely populated residentially. We're surrounded by condominium towers. I've heard 100,000 people residing in this downtown area in about a 1 square mile area.
We have such lonely people. They seem affluent, they seem happy, they seem excited, they seem content with their lives. They've got the great job, they're living in a great downtown apartment, they can go to nightclubs, but inside there's an emptiness.
But the same is true about the $1 million businessman who's got the penthouse. They have hurts too, whether they're enslaved to work or just loneliness or a lack of love or friends,
When we first started the church, we did a phone campaign, and we phoned 10,000 people in the community, and we surveyed them, and we found out from that, at that time, there was about just over 1% going to church. It's changed since then. It's gotten better. But so definitely it's, in a way, an unreached people group. The majority of people don't go to church, and even those who do go to church, it doesn't necessarily mean they have a faith in Christ.
At Coastal Church, our Alpha groups consist of mostly people, I'd say early 20s to mid 40s, professionals, really educated, really motivated, successful in their careers, and it's generally a lot more relevant than I thought it would be to me, myself, when I went through.
Well, you may notice behind us that we have a bunch of empty pews, and our Alpha program is actually being run and being prepared right now, even as we speak, in 2 locations. So instead of Alpha on a Monday night being in the church, it's out in the community. So we empty out the church on Monday nights, and we go to where the people are. And so that would be why we are sitting here in a very empty church tonight.
Right now we're in the heart of an office building here in downtown Vancouver. We're in the lunchroom where we prepare the meals for our Alpha, or at least a lot of the veggie trays, the fruit trays, and the desserts are done here. Our church building is actually right across the street, but we just have a real desire and a passion to reach the unchurched, and obviously that's what Alpha is all about.
One of our first locations was a very small common room of one of the downtown buildings, and we tried to do it just by the book, and muddled our way through that, had a great meal, and surprisingly everybody loved it, as small as it was. So from there we went to another common room of a building, and again we were in very cramped quarters. But it was the chemistry of Alpha, it was the music. We did the worship just the way that they suggested we would do it. We did the food in that little room, broke into small groups, and we're back to back with people. But it was the right chemistry. And from there we had to grow, simply because people said, this is what I've been looking for.
The nice thing about Alpha is it's really a venue where people are able to see that you care about them, It's not a place where you get to show them how much you know. It's a place where you can show them how you're able to listen.
We're in the Global Village English Second Language School, and I head up the Yaletown Alpha here that we do. I wasn't quite sure about Coastal until mid-January of 2002. Somebody invited me to Alpha, and so I came and checked it out. And it was just, you could just see they were just normal people that happened to love God. There was not a lot of pretense there. They weren't fake, happy clappy type Christians. They were just normal. They were having fun, and I really felt that it was the heart of the church there that I saw, and people were relaxed and enjoying themselves, and they weren't fanatically religious, and I could just really relate to that. I could be who I am inside the church, I could be that person who I am outside the church. It was the same. I didn't have to put on a mask or be quiet and reserved. I could just totally be myself. And so I just jumped in right away.
This is a reality that there is such a hunger. There are people so hungry. There is a real spiritual hunger. They're looking at a lot of different places and they want to find it. They're just not sure how to connect with the church. And Alpha is such a disarming way for people to connect it. And if churches embraced it, there could really be an awakening. We think this is an anomaly here in downtown Vancouver. It's not supposed to happen here, but this community is awakening. And a lot of our people that are baptized, that have come into the church, have come through Alpha, or those that have come in, they go to Alpha, and it's changed part of the community here. It's awakened, it's gotten alive because of it.
He's going to hand out Bibles to everyone, and it's a gift to you. Just last week we found out about a Korean student that had just landed in Vancouver to come and study ESL, and had met another student at a university in Korea, and they hadn't known each other, but in conversation before this person left Korea, found out that the person he was talking to had been to Vancouver and said, when you get there you have to go to this Alpha at Coastal Church. And just that invitation that a student made thousands and thousands of miles away from here, as soon as he arrived in Vancouver, he came to Alpha. And we just thought, wow, the ripple effect, and we have no idea. The number of, we've had hundreds and hundreds of international students that have come and studied here. And you see them leave, and sometimes you wonder, what, are we having an effect? But that testimony there, I think, made us feel that there's a ripple effect happening, and we're not going to know until we get to heaven just how many we have touched. But that was a pretty good boost for our team to make us feel like, yeah, we're changing lives.
Well, for me, pretty much every single day of what I learned in Alpha is applicable in my classroom. So I find in my classroom we're teaching the same thing, almost literally in the same order that Alpha teaches it. Who was Jesus? Why did he die? Why is this important to me? How can I pray? I mean, Alpha gave me the confidence to be able to pray aloud, which I do numerous times in the classroom throughout the day. How and why should I tell others? That was the part that really inspired me. I felt at a point in my life where I probably wouldn't be going out to another country and being a missionary, but it inspired me to want to be a missionary within my own city and to see what can I do to tell people about this great peace that I have found. I want to pass that on to others. So my forte is with kids, so that really just kind of made me want to go into my community, tell kids about God, and hopefully inspire them to do the same in their future.
I mean, it revitalizes you. It makes you excited about what you're doing, you know? And I can't think of anything else that's greater than that investment of time. Being there, being involved in someone being brought into the kingdom of heaven. I think every city in all of Canada should have multiple churches with Alpha programs. It's the best way to reach people. Yeah.
I see it pumping out passionate Christians, not just creating Christians, but creating disciples, which I think there's a big difference between those two things.
I think Alpha Canada and Alpha as a whole said, you know, and I'm not going to put words in their mouth, but this is what we hear them saying. We're going to take responsibility. We want to work with the churches, and we really want to reach our country with the message of Christ. And the only way they're going to do that is if churches say, let's partner together. We can agree on this. Now let's partner together and let's take responsibility. Like Cheryl said, there's a lot of hard work involved. There's messes to clean up. There's people that they have a lot of issues in their life that they're working through. But then we also need people to say, I'm going to take responsibility. I'm going to come along and I'm going to support this. I'm going to get behind it. Here's a tool that's working in our country. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We don't have to come up with something else. We have something that's working. Now let's take responsibility. Let's invest into it, and let's see their awakening come. But it takes work. It takes money. It takes responsibility. And if we're willing to do it, I think God's saying, I'm behind it. The fruit's there. But we just need to say, let's take responsibility and do it.